my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today's video, I am sharing the best casserole dishes. A few of them are dump and go recipes, so they come together in no time, very little work, and most of them only have a few ingredients in them, so they are very budget friendly. I hope that you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go make some casserole dishes. All right, so we're gonna start off with this chicken noodle soup casserole. Yes, you heard me right. We are going to make chicken noodle soup in a casserole dish. So we're gonna start with 1 onion, 2 stalks of celery, 2 carrots, and 3 cloves of minced garlic. Now over to our casserole dish, you're just gonna spray it with some nonstick spray and just throw in all of your veggies. Now, if you do wanna take the extra step and saute them, go right ahead. It does make a world of difference, but this is just a quick and easy recipe. So I am going to be putting in 6 ounces of egg noodles, season it up with 1 teaspoon of salt, and I put 2 teaspoons of pepper in here and 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and I used a can of chicken and 3 cups of chicken broth. Make sure that all of the noodles and veggies are submerged in the liquid. Then we are going to cover this with foil. Now bear with me, this was a day that I ran out of foil, so I had to improvise and just use what I had. It was my last little bit. So anyways, we cooked it at 350 for 40 minutes, and make sure that you give it a good stir when it comes out. This is what it comes out like, and you guys, this was delicious. Like I said, if you want to saute those veggies, you can also do that. They were a little on the crunchier side, but I like crunchy vegetables, so does my family. For our next meal, we're going to be making pasta and meatball bake. I mean, seriously, it does not get any easier than this dump and go recipe. So just spray your 9x13 baking dish, and I am using half of this bag of Italian meatballs, which is about 14 ounces, and I did defrost them. So make sure you do that. This way they cook nice and hot in the oven. And then I have 16 ounces of pasta. We use any short pasta you want, 1 24-ounce jar of marinara sauce, and I've got 3 cups of water. Make sure that you are submerging everything because we want those noodles to cook in this cooking process. Cover tightly with foil. We're going to bake at 350 for 40 minutes. Now, once that is done, we are going to make sure that you are tossing the noodles. So make sure that you are moving the ones from the top down to the bottom. This way everything cooks nice and evenly. These noodles do absorb all of that liquid pretty beautifully. And now add 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese right on top. We're going to cover that up and bake it for another 5 to 10 minutes or until the cheese is nice and bubbly. Here's what it comes out like. This was delicious the way it is, but next time I will absolutely make this with a little Italian seasoning and garlic powder. It was still good, but it was definitely missing those seasonings. I just served it with some salad and another delicious meal. Next up, we are going to be making a tuna casserole. Now, there are a couple extra steps in this dish, but I promise it is worth it. We're going to start with 2 stalks of celery and 1 large yellow onion, dice them up. Now, over to our pan, we are going to be melting in 1 tablespoon of butter along with the onions and the celery, a little bit of salt and pepper. Give it a really good stir, and we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes until all of the veggies are nice and tender and soft. And now over to our baking dish, spray with nonstick spray. I did wind up cooking this pasta until it was al dente just to help with the cooking process because we are not going to be using a lot of liquid in this recipe. I've got 1 can of cream of mushroom soup along with the onions and celery. And I love this little strainer top for my tuna. I will link it down below if you are interested, and it's just so convenient. We just need 1 can of tuna, and then we're gonna top that with some shredded cheese. I've got a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, and just give everything a really good stir. And at this point, of course, I almost forgot to put in the peas. How do I forget the peas? It's the best part. I have 2/3 a cup of peas here. And now we are going to be making the topping, which is a panko breadcrumb topping. It's just got half a cup of cheese, half a cup of panko, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and a teaspoon of parsley. I use dried parsley, but you could always use fresh too. And now we're just going to top that right on top of our casserole dish, cover that up with some foil, and we're going to bake this at 350 for about 25 minutes. And look at this, you guys. I mean, seriously, it is just such comfort in a bowl. And this was my husband's favorite meal this week. My kids, we're hoping it'll grow on them one day. Next up, we're going to be making chili con queso pasta. This was such a fun recipe for me to come up with. There was so much stuff I needed to use in my fridge, and I think this recipe definitely uses up everything. So we're starting off with 1 onion, 1 colored bell pepper, and 6 cloves of minced garlic. Now over to our saute pan, we are just going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter and just cook the peppers and onions with a little bit of salt and pepper. So give that about 5 to 7 minutes until it gets nice and soft. And then we are going to add in the garlic. Now we only need to cook that for about 30 seconds. Now here's a little bit of a controversial ingredient, which is processed cheese or cheese melt. It is so good in a recipe like this, but it's definitely something to eat in moderation. Anyways, we are adding 1.5 cups cubed, and now I'm putting in this whole jar of salsa con queso, and I feel like this really brings this up a notch. And now once everything is nice and melted, we are slowly going to incorporate 2 cups of milk. Now we want to do this slowly because we don't want there to be any clumps. We want everything to be nice and smooth. Now we're going to add in 1 can of black beans, 1 can of beef chili. You guys know how I feel about this stuff. This is an incredible little find at Walmart. And then 7 ounces of diced green chilies. Give everything a really good mix until everything is heated through and well combined. Now to our casserole dish, we're going to spray it with nonstick spray. I did wind up cooking this pasta. I have 16 ounces until it was al dente, so I cooked it for about 7 or 8 minutes. And now I'm just pouring that sauce mixture right over it and making sure everything's well combined, and then topping it with 1.5 cups of shredded cheese. Here's a little life hack: spray the top of your foil before baking. I'm telling you, you won't regret it, because when the cheese sticks, it's no fun. Anyways, this is what it came out like. I topped it with some green onions, and my family loved this meal. Our final recipe this week, we're going to be making Alfredo chicken and tot casserole. This was actually really good. So we're going to start with 32 ounces of tater tots, 1/2 cup of sliced green onions, and I've got 6 slices of bacon that I chopped up and drained. And then we're using 3 cups of shredded chicken. And I've got 2 jars. They are 15 ounces each, so technically 30 ounces of Alfredo sauce. And just dump that all in there. And then I just added a teaspoon of parsley and a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now you just want to give this a really good mix and make sure that you are using a big bowl, because I really thought that this bowl was huge, but as I started mixing, it wasn't as big as I thought it was. Anyways, over to our casserole dish, spray it with your nonstick spray, dump everything right in there, and we're going to actually use Parmesan cheese as the topping for this. So it actually gives it that nice salty flavor that you really can only get from Parmesan cheese. Anyways, we are going to bake this at 375 for 45 minutes because we are using frozen tater tots. So you want to make sure everything is heated through. This is what it comes out like, and this was a winner. I am telling you, my kids loved this. My husband loved it. If I gave it to my neighbor, I'm sure they would love it too. So I just served it with some salad with some ranch dressing, and it was another winning dinner. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I appreciate you watching. As you can tell, this thing definitely was put to work this week, and I hope you put yours to work too. If you did like this video, hit that subscribe button down below and give me a like so I know I can make more videos like this. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.